Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of Was It Really That Bad? And recently I've been tackling a game that gets a lot of hate from the Sonic community. Yeah, it's that one. Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. So I'm sure we all know about the bugs in this game because there are a lot of them. And a lot of people write this game off because of these alone, but I'm not one of them people. No, not me. I had to know if this game was actually enjoyable if I ignored the bugs. So, let's get into it. You know, I like to think that I can look at games unbiasedly, so when I went into this game I had high hopes, as most reviews I watched mainly focused on the bugs of the game rather than the actual gameplay. And in all honesty I thought I could get over this and that the bugs could be avoided if I just played the game on a linear track and attempted to play the game as if it was made in one path. And I can say that these thoughts were wrong. I started this episode with the intent to defend Sonic 06, but I just can't. It's a bad game. As stated, I attempted to ignore the bugs in this game, but they're just too frequent to avoid, and often lead to death and frustration. I can't count the amount of times I was just running along and oops, your boost pad didn't take you far enough, or oh, the bounce pad sequence didn't quite take you where you want to go. Really, the bugs are unavoidable and are far too frequent to defend. For me, Shadow's campaign was the most buggy. This is where I came across all the major bugs that I can actually remember. An example of a bug that I remember is if you flip a hover car and land on your head, you will fall through the ground, which will of course result in the loss of a life. And flipping vehicles as Shadow is extremely easy to do. Funnily enough, I never actually came across any major bugs in Silver's campaign, which to be honest I found funny because that seemed like the campaign which should be the most open to bugs, seeing as he has the kinesis powers. And Shadow and Sonic's gameplay are extremely similar and they would have lots of time to refine that, but I guess they just didn't and they've maybe focused on Silver's more. But in all honesty, this part has just been explaining that there are other bugs in the game and that they are very common and unavoidable. If you want to see the bugs, I'm not going to go into much detail about them, but you can just Google Sonic 06 bugs and you'll find them, or glitches. They are very common. As for the gameplay itself, it's boring. The levels last way too long, lasting 15 minutes on average, which kind of defeats the purpose of a fast-paced platformer. The levels themselves also actually lack any real charm, seeming like they're just going through the motion. Here's your desert level, here's your ice level, here's your forest level, here's your blah 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 blah. The levels are also big open spaces with nothing interesting in. Sonic's levels mainly consist of making your way from point A to point B and killing any enemies in between. But fighting enemies takes far too long and is just a chore. They have these large health bars and Sonic attacks far too slowly. And in all honesty, it's more fun to just ignore them and run past when the game isn't forcing you to kill them. Other than that, there's a snowboarding section which is just nothing. Shadow's levels are structured in the same way Sonic's are. However, in his campaign you have the addition of vehicles, which are better if you avoid them as they control poorly and are not much faster than running and can flip far too easily on uneven terrain. And here's the kicker, Shadow's levels are direct copies of Sonic's with little changes made other than maybe an alternative path, and he even shares some of the same boss fights. The only original bosses I can recall in Shadow's campaign are the battles of Mephiles, and even these aren't very fun. And while we're on the topic of bosses, they are very boring and rubbish. They last way too long and lack any creativity. Really, the structure of a boss fight in this game is stand here, wait until the boss does a thing, then do a thing, and then wait here again. And do this 5 or 6 times. Hey, you've done the boss. And this goes for all 3 campaigns, and even the last boss is basically like this. It's very boring and very repetitive. Finally, Silver's levels are again get from point A to point B. And to be honest, his was the one that I enjoyed the most. Mainly because it was different and Silver could be controlled at a normal speed. Although fighting with Silver is an even bigger chore than fighting with Sonic or Shadow due to the slowness of his kinesis. With this said, his levels are again clones, but not to the same degree as Shadow and Sonic's. There are also additional side characters. You have Knuckles, Rouge, Tails, Blaze and Amy. Rouge and Knuckles play as they always do with the ability to glide and climb walls. However, Knuckles punches whilst Rouge drops bombs, and they seem to frickin' love the walls. Tails can fly and drop bombs, Blaze controls similar to Sonic except she has a double jump ability, and Amy has a high jump with the additional attack of a hammer. Really the only character that's fun to play as is Blaze, and I'm still thinking they put way too much time into Silver's campaign. This game also has awful frame rate issues and it's constantly dropping below 30 no matter where you are, and this really takes you out of the experience, which in all honesty isn't that good to start with. Also, the loading screens in this game are dreadful. Everything you do in this game will lead to a loading screen, be it watching a cutscene, speaking to an NPC, starting a side mission, starting a main mission. They appear everywhere and last for quite some time. As for the hub world, other than a few NPCs which rarely move around, it's a ghost town with a few side quests. And the side quests have no real impact on game, to the point where I stopped doing them and completed none in the Silver or Shadow campaign. And speaking of the NPCs, none of them have voice acting! This was meant to be Sega's next big game, and the only characters that have voice acting are the main ones! Come on! Whew, I think that's all that out of the way then. Next point on the list is the story. It's cheesy and I didn't care enough to try and understand what was going on. From the gist of it, it goes something like this. There is this carnival and Sonic's there because but the princess is kidnapped, but Sonic saves her, but then she kidnapped again, and so Sonic saved her, but Silver tried to kill Sonic because Sonic destroyed her future, but Shadow be knowing that ain't true, so he's going to try to stop Silver, and man telling Silver to kill Sonic and things.
Okay, that's not exactly how it goes, but in all honesty, I don't care enough to try and understand it or explain it. Really, the best way for you to get the story is to play the game yourself. But I'm not going to recommend you do that.
But if you are interested in how it ends, spoiler alert by the way, Sonic saves at least, Shadow doesn't stop Mephiles, but Silver kills Iblis in the future, and Blaze takes the flames to another dimension and locks himself both there. That is, until the final chapter where Silver's story means nothing, I think. I really couldn't work it out, and I didn't really want to put much thought into how Iblis and Mephiles rejoin for the final fight. Also, Sonic dies and is brought back to life. But it's all stupid and pointless because at the end of the game they change it so none of it ever happens, so who cares? And the last point I'm going to mention is the final boss fight was shit. I feel like the video is dragging on too long, so I'm just going to say that the last boss fight is a Super Sonic, Super Shadow and Super Silver, and that it feels tacked on and pointless. Really, they could have ended it with two of the major campaign endings and then just changed Shadow's ending so that he defeats Mephiles. Oh, and why is this boss fight bad? Why, the same reason all boss fights are bad in this game. It lasts way too long with no clear direction of what you need to do. And in this boss fight in particular, you're pretty much invincible. You just have to sit around and wait for the ring count to go back up for your party members, and then keep switching between them. So, was Sonic 06 really that bad? Yeah. It gets a lot of slack, and I can now say I know why. Really, the only thing that's redeeming about this game is the pre-rendered cinematics look pretty decent, and that the music was okay. But as we all know, even if you put glitter on a turd, it's still a turd. Thanks for watching.